I thought this would be easier. I really did. But now that you're here and you're watching me and now I'm under pressure, I'm anxious again. I know that I've been gone from YouTube for a little bit. I uploaded 2 videos and I promised that I would be more consistent with YouTube, and yet here I am many months later. But I have a good reason, and it's because I really don't like heavy editing, and I really don't want to have an intro, and it just discouraged me from making YouTube videos because everyone else is so loud and so enthusiastic on videos, and they do so much, and that's just not my personality. So this video is probably going to be very little editing and mostly a lot of talking and actual training to show you guys what I do at the gym. And yeah, that's basically it. 2 things. First of all, I'm currently doing an upper lower split. 4 days of the week I am training. Upper lower, rest day, upper lower, rest day, rest day. The reason I'm doing this currently is because I was doing a 5 days a week training, and because of my injuries that are refusing to heal, I just need more. I really do. There's a lot of inflammation in my body. I have a lot of fatigue in me, a lot of inflammation, especially in my legs. You guys know, if you follow me on other social media platforms, I have a herniated disc in my L4, L5, which means I am very limited with my lower body, which kind of segues this conversation into the, if I continue to do YouTube, you will probably not see my legs because I will not be showing them. So this explains the sweatpants 24/7. You'll be seeing those sweatpants a lot. Something else, I have lowered my training from high volume to moderate to lower volume generally, because again, I have a lot of fatigue in my system. I'm having a hard time recovering like the average 22-year-old. So now I'm just doing high intensity, low volume training, and quite frankly, I am enjoying it a lot. I used to have a coach. I no longer have a coach. And now I'm honestly just doing what feels good for my body, taking rest days when I feel like I need to. And yeah, today is an upper body day, so I will be doing everything upper body: triceps, biceps, back, little chest because I really don't care. And also I have a injured rotator cuff, which affects the way I train my pecs, specifically this one. So if I do any kind of pressing movement or any kind of fly for my pecs, it is going to put me out for a couple days because of the intense pain that I have in my shoulder. Don't expect a intro video because I don't have one, and I will not make one. All right, so for every upper body day and lower body day, I do a lot of mobility work because of my injuries, of course. So first of all, I'm going to try to open up my upper back and my back in general. I roll out my back, and then I try to kind of like just roll over my lat and all the muscles in this area, and it really hurts. These look like they don't do anything, but they really do help. When it comes to rotator cuff injuries and anything in general that has to do with like your shoulders or anything injured in this area, it really comes down to just simple movements of getting blood into the area before you like actually train hard. If you also have something behind you to hold, I don't even know what to call this, I'm not gonna lie to you. Just having it like this and stretching right here, God, it feels really good. So usually I have a soft ball with me that I use to put on the ground and kind of roll out my pec area, and also a lacrosse ball that I put on my rear delt area, almost where my rotator cuff, like the back of my rotator cuff where it like connects to my upper lat. I usually use that to open up the area, but today I don't have it, so I'm just gonna warm up with whatever I just showed you and also use the rear delt machine. So, alright, so you're gonna wanna keep this very light. We're just warming up, we're just moving the blood into the area. I've said this sentence probably 11 times by now. Anyways, I just do around 20 reps for 3 sets. Sometimes I can even do 30. It just depends on how it feels. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna keep it light as well. We're gonna do rotations. So it's like a clockwise motion. A friend of mine called, or he's a coach actually, he calls it the demusquita, I think clockwork, whatever, some shoulder movement. And the reason we call it that is because we go in like the clockwork manner of the cable, So we're also warming up the shoulder and the rear delt, and we're doing it like that, basically. So you can do 15 reps, 15 reps, 15 reps, 15 reps. Right now, since I warmed up on the rear delt fly, I'm gonna do 8 reps, 8 reps, 8 reps, 8 reps. And then by the time we are all the way up here, my shoulders should be a-okay. Of course, we're not gonna forget the other shoulder, because if we forget the shoulder, it's gonna get injured. So now that we have made it through all of these levels, I'm reaching the top. The way that you're gonna be doing this is gonna be slightly different from how you were doing it at the bottom. So now, to use my rear delt, I'm gonna be doing it from the bottom down instead of from the bottom up. Now that we're done with the warm-up, usually I would start with the back section of my upper body days, but recently, since my injury flared up again, and I kind of motion like upwards where I'm pulling down and I'm straining my lat, like the top part of my lat that attaches to my rotator cuff, it's been hurting and it's been affecting the rest of my upper body movements. So instead of doing that, because I know it's going to affect the rest of my upper body movements, I'm going to do shoulders first, get those out of the way, and then push the back movements to the very end, because I know it's going to hurt me the most. Or at least I try not to have it hurt me the most. I just know in the back of my head that there is a very high probability that it will be the one that will hurt me most. So we're gonna start with the lateral RYSE machine. This one's not a great one. If you have this at your gym, I'm sorry. But if you have a lateral RYSE machine, it's a good machine to start with. I usually like to do 2 sets warm up before I actually work up to my working sets. And lately, for every single movement, I've only been doing 2 working sets per movement, close-ish to failure. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Usually for my warm-up sets, I do around 12 to 15 reps, just to the point where I can feel it burn enough and know that the blood is pumping in there. So for this, also like any kind of I keep saying the word rear delt, dude, because I said it so much and now it's stuck in my head. So for any kind of side delt machine, you can either do it like this with your elbow, or you can do it like this, straight out, and imagine yourself almost reaching out to the corner of the room, which really helps when it comes down to your working sets, because for some reason the mind muscle connection is better, and you just feel it more in your side delts. So when it comes to my working sets, I will switch from this to this, or lately I've been holding it up here, and for some reason it just feels right. I have a lot of people in my comments being like, every time I do any kind of lateral RYSE movement, I feel like a lot of tension in my neck. Brother, all you gotta do is just lift your neck up. Like, don't be looking down as you're doing any kind of lateral RYSE. If you're doing this, where do you think all that tension is gonna go if not your neck? Instead of doing that, just be in a comfortable position, in a neutral position for your neck while doing that movement. And same with any other movement, really. One more. Come on. Nowadays, between sets, I take 3 to 5 minutes of rest. If it is a hard set. If it's a warm-up, honestly, I take like 30 seconds to a minute and then I start back up again. But for working sets, it is gonna be 3 to 5 minutes. I don't care what anyone says about like rest time. A lot of people are gonna tell you to do high volume with low rest time. Fatigue, injury, I don't care. I'm not doing it. My body can't handle it. A lot of people, even beginners especially, if they don't know how to do like proper form, do you think that they're gonna be able to perform properly and then do a lot of volume and then on top of that have low rest time. It just doesn't make sense to me. Done with this bad boy. Time to carb up because I'm sleepy and tired. Not that that's gonna make that much of a difference. Maybe I'm just a fat ass. Today's choice of intra-workout carbs is Welch's Juice Folds, mixed fruit, gluten-free, dairy-free, not sponsored. However, I am gluten-free and dairy-free because my stomach is sensitive, and this works perfectly. It just doesn't taste that great, which sucks, but I would much rather be doing Rice Krispie treats or a Gatorade. I just don't have that right now, and I have a bunch of those at the house, so. Now I gotta train the delts in a more lengthened position, which is kind of tough to do, but it does work with the cable machine that I showed earlier that I did the warm-ups on. That's a great machine to use. Oh my God, someone just got on it. This has to be my favorite side delt exercise forever. Like, the stretch on this is good. There's constant tension. You can change your angle however you want. You can always put some kind of incline seat right here, lay on it to get that, stretch. And I don't know, man, it just feels awesome. I love it. When I do some kind of like free weight with the dumbbells and I'm doing the same exact movement, I often get like the clickiness in my shoulder no matter how much I warm it up. Like, I could be warming it up for 45 minutes and my shoulder is still gonna be clicking. I don't know why. With this, it just feels right. I don't know if it's my body, my bone structure. I just love it. I honestly, if I were to contribute most of my shoulder gains to something, it would be the cable, like any kind of cable lateral raise, because tension on it is just consistent. Usually when I do both arms, I am going to do a cross in the back. Just because I like that stretch right there. It pulls you to the back. So move slightly to the front, not too much. When you do this and you lean forward, it makes it so much easier. When you're slightly to the front and you're upright, it is gonna be way harder. So don't try to make it easier for yourself. Unless you're trying to get partial reps at the end, sure, you can do this to make it a little bit easier. But if you're not, then stand up straight. So set number 2, I'm probably gonna go for the 8 to 10 reps, failing route 8 to 10 reps. And then after that, I'm gonna do some pump work just because I like the pump. I like to get the blood flowing for the pictures and my ego. So I'm gonna do 8 to 10 reps. And then after that, I'm probably gonna do a drop set and rep it out just for a pump. Incredibly lightweight. So now we are back to the pec deck machine to get the rear delts. A lot of people neglect their rear delts. So whenever they flex, any kind of like a side chest, for example, they do this movement. You look in the back, it's just flat. There's nothing there. That's because they are not training their rear delts. All they're doing is a bunch of pressing movements, which honestly, if you're doing like a flat bench and you're expecting your shoulders to grow, it's not gonna happen. Or they're only doing lateral raises and they're expecting their shoulders to be fully developed, having bolder shoulders. That's not gonna happen. You have to hit your rear delts. And personally, I think this is the best machine to do it. I'm gonna do 3 sets on this. I'm gonna fail in the 10 to 12 range because that's personally what I have seen growth in. So yeah, It. I love this machine. I really do. I'm gonna do 2 more sets on this, working sets. I'm not gonna film it because it's just the same thing. And then we're gonna do triceps, and then we're gonna superset biceps and back, because why not? So we're done with shoulders, and now we're doing triceps. I am back to my favorite cable machine, and we're doing rope tricep extensions. With these, I have to be careful with my shoulder. So usually the range of motion for a tricep extension would be, whoa, hold on. There we go. Usually people will block their shoulders back and go straight down. Some people bend over like that, do this. Some people do this. But it's hard not to have your shoulder get engaged when you are getting or training towards failure. So instead of just keeping it like that, going straight down, a good thing that's been helping me is kind of moving my hips forward, which shifts my shoulders backwards at the bottom of the motion. So it goes like this. So it's almost like when you do a lat pull through. A lot of people will do it like this. There's that kind of upper body shift when they pull the rope towards their body. It's almost the same thing. What this does basically, it just forces your shoulder to go backwards and disengage it from the movement. And it's been helping me a lot. So if you have any kind of shoulder problem, try that out. It might be helpful. I got the longer ropes, but surprisingly, we're gonna have to go to the other cable machine because I just have been doing my rope extensions there, and I know the weight's better than this machine. This one feels better and it's smoother, but I just know my weights on that other machine, and I would like to progressively overload knowing my numbers. So we're gonna head over there. This has been such a mess. I got the other rope to try a longer rope extension. It just felt too long, and this feels too short, so we don't have like the right length of rope that I want right now. So I'm just gonna go back to the shorter rope and do it the way that I have been doing. So now we're doing the actual working set that I've been working my way up to for the past 5 minutes, trying out new things. Pump cover came off. There's not much of a pump, nothing too freaky. I don't know. Either way, I gotta do my last set of tricep extensions here. So next movement we're gonna do, I don't know what it's called. I guess it's a unilateral tricep extension with the cable as well. But the difference is, like I mentioned before, a lot of people try to do this movement right here, where they bend over, they grab the cable, and then they do it behind them to get that contraction in the back. And you can tell the difference in the way you contract. Like your tricep even feels different when you go from here to here. You can feel a very big difference. Thing is, people think that they have to bend over to get that range of motion behind their body. However, personally, I can't be bent over like that because it will hurt my back. I also think that the positioning is not as good as it could be. So instead, I like to hold this, lean back a little bit, and just get it behind my body. You really don't have to be bent over like that, reaching over just to get that same movement when you can be doing it right here behind your body. Same thing, bring the shoulder back and the elbow behind the body and just push down to the back, or I guess push back to the back. Now that we finished 2 working sets of that movement that I still don't know what it's called, we're gonna do back and biceps supersets. Usually I like the straight bar for these, but right now I'm too lazy to change it. So this will do, I like to do it wider, wide grip, I guess. So that's just what we're gonna do now. I'm gonna do 12 reps down to my diaphragm, and then when I'm done with that, I'm gonna do 12 reps towards my chest. So it's gonna be 12 reps towards my diaphragm, superset with hammer curls. And then when I'm done with these 3 sets, I'm gonna do 12 reps towards my chest, superset with a, what's it called? A preacher curl. So this machine right here, if not this one, we have another one in here. It depends on like how I feel that day. If my shoulder's not doing too well, I will choose the other machine because it's like not as pulley for my shoulder. So yeah, we're gonna do that. 3 sets of this, 3 sets of that, 2 supersets, and then we'll be out of here. All right, so usually for hammer curls, I like to go heavy. I don't want to do 12 reps for hammer curls. Honestly, when I do more reps for hammer curls, for some reason, my shoulder also gets engaged. So for these, I like to fail around 8 to 10. If you haven't noticed, I do a lot of 8 to 10. I also like to do 6 to 8. I tap into the 12 to 15 very rarely nowadays. But honestly, as long as you are reaching that intensity and that failure, no matter your rep range, you're good to go. It's all about that intensity at the end of the day. So. That was easy peasy lemon squeezy. So I got 10 easily. Honestly, didn't even get close to failure like I usually do with these, which is telling me that the bulk is actually working. The food that I'm using is coming through, helping me with strength, which means I can up my reps to 12 if I want to stay with the 30s, or I can go to 35s, which personally I think I can do. So next working set, after I go back to the lat pull downs, I'm gonna attempt 35 for 10 reps. I wanna try to do it both arms. If I do it and it works, it would be a very, very successful lift for me. So, oh man, this feels heavy. I don't know. I need to mentally hype myself up. 1.5. A little bit of ego lifting, but it's okay. I'm changing the grip for this one from a wide-ish one to a close grip. A lot of people are gonna flame me for that. People don't like it when they do close grip on lat pull downs. Personally, it feels comfortable for my shoulder. I get a better contraction in my back. Let me be. I do not care what the optimal crowd says. So, 12 reps towards the chest. Preach, girls. If I had pecs and zero gyno, I would be giving you a gnarly chest pose, a little side chest, but unfortunately, I've been blessed by God with a lot of gyno. So, this is all you get, a little shoulder and bicep, a little bit of tricep. Ooh. Oh man, I'm too big. I think that's enough flexing for today. Honestly, I just wanted to show you guys what I'm personally doing currently with my shoulder injury, my back injury, with my tendonitis in both of my quads. I have to be very specific with my training. I have to be very careful with the movements that I choose to do, with the reps, the volume, just the intensity even in general. Anyways, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully, if the editing goes well, I will continue to make videos like this. If not, and I just despise the editing once again, and my computer just doesn't want to cooperate with me, then good luck. I don't know. Either way, if you would like to support me, you can use code Cheeks on Darc Sport clothing items. Obviously, I'm incredibly drippy, and if you are looking for some good supplements, I have been using RYSE supplements for the past, honestly, ever since the beginning of my journey. You can also use code Cheeks for a discount and to support me. And please leave a like and a comment perhaps, and even a follow if you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful workout. And I hope you're enjoying your meal if you are eating with YouTube. Goodbye.